You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And so on that defense, I admittedly was trying to think, okay, where is Houston going to get an advantage? And peek behind the kimono here for the folks at home in pre-pod, we talked and I was like, oh, that's not the advantage I thought it was, and talking about some of the corners and stuff like that for Arizona. You said, yeah, but their safeties are two of their best players. So the corners are kind of almost a negated problem because of how good those two guys are on the back half of the defense at the very back. Tell me a little bit about, not that people associate Arizona with defensive-minded football or anything like that, but what is this defense in year two under Brent Brennan? What can people expect on Saturday out of the Arizona defense?
This defense has been by far the best thing on the team the entire year. And it's nationally, it's up there with the best of them. If you look at, like, if you're an analytics nerd, which I like to dabble a little bit, like EPA per play wise, they're like top 10 in the entire country in adjusted play, like, you know, the efficiency play adjustment per play. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, this Arizona defense under Brent Brennan is similar to the offense, made a big change. They had Dwayne Aquina, who is a very well-respected coach in football circles, you know, was at Texas forever, and, you know, was just, you know, at Arizona during the Desert Swarm days. Like, he's a legend. He's one of the best defensive position coaches of all time. But as a defensive coordinator, it didn't really seem like it worked out. And he's about 70 years old as well. So he's getting up there. Arizona then promotes Danny Gonzalez, who was the head coach at New Mexico, was the DC at Arizona State, actually, during the Herm Edwards years, and was really good for them. And he gets promoted to DC, and this defense has seen just a complete revolution, basically. They're you know, holding opponents to really low scoring. They gave up their first passing touchdown of the season against BYU last week, to which they gave up, I believe, a couple there. So it's not like they only gave up one, but they had really no passing touchdowns all year through 5 games. They're a really good defense. As you said, the safeties are kind of the calling card, the best players, the players that, you know, returned with the most experience. You have even a lot of depth at safety, but, you know, everyone really has performed pretty admirably because this defense is ranked so highly. They're top 30, you know, they're top 20. Like, Danny Gonzalez has done a great job rebuilding this defense. So that's, from an Arizona standpoint, like, if you're to know anything, it's that this defense has been really, really tough to beat all year long. And BYU really didn't start beating it until the end of the game when Arizona was trying to protect the lead. And they just unfortunately couldn't do so.
Yeah, that felt like a classic running prevent you from winning kind of situation. And we can talk about that later. I don't mean to begrudge bad memories. A fun fact in making sure I had the guy's background right, I did not realize that that Danny Gonzalez actually punted as a student athlete at New Mexico.
Oh yeah,
that random. I did not know that was coming.
He was our special teams coordinator last season as well as the linebackers coach. But our special teams last year was also a disaster, so they moved him off of that and hired a new guy.
It's a move that worked out for the best, apparently. So honestly, I watched the BYU game. And I see Bear Bachmeier throw for a couple touchdowns. And in my head, I'm like, listen, this kid is going to be very good. He's big, strong, fast. He's not exactly known for being like a prolific passer. Do you think that's because Arizona was so focused on, like, hey, he's really good at running the football, we got to take that away? And you think it's maybe he hit you on something he hadn't seen? Like, what was the deal there? Because you mentioned he's the first guy to complete a touchdown pass against you.
Yeah, I don't even think that it necessarily had much to do with, like, the passing game was working all that well for BYU. I think that's just kind of how they got their points. If you look at the game, BYU rushed for, I think, 250 plus yards. And yeah, Bear Bachmeier and LJ Martin were pretty unstoppable, especially in that second half, especially in that fourth quarter. So I don't think that there was all that much in the way of BYU's passing attack was looking all that great, especially if you were to rewatch that fourth quarter in overtime. BYU essentially runs it on every single play. Bear Bachmeier is taking shotgun snaps and just Tim Tebow style, just running straight into the line, and it's working for him. So that was, I think the defense got tired at the end of that game, truly, and BYU was just a very physical team.
No, and I thought it was interesting. I don't believe on their final drive of regulation, it was under 3 minutes, very 2 minute drill feeling. I don't think they completed a pass. They got a big PI call, right?
Couple.
They didn't complete a pass, and that's kind of antithetical to what you think happens in that situation when you see the comeback happen at a 300 feet, level. I want to ask about that. That's a nice transition because Houston would probably prefer to run the football if you ask Willie Fritz. Now, the offensive coordinator is not Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz is a defensive guy, but they'd probably rather run the clock, ball control, keep this thing in the 20s, etc. Right? After having just seen BYU, who admittedly has a good running game, put up 250 yards, do you have any pause as an Arizona guy about that happening this week? Or is it kind of, yeah, but they have a 240-pound quarterback. Like, things are different.
I mean, I think that there's an element of that. I think Bear Bachmeier is for sure, even though maybe he's not at his peak evolution of what he's going to be, because I think he's going to be fantastic. But, you look at Bear Bachmeier, while Conner, is it Weigman or Weisman? We've been debating this all year.
So we were told Weigman, almost like it's almost like there's no E. It's like Weigman.
Weigman. But interesting. Okay, cool. We noted for future use. And I know Weigman is a very good runner in his own right, but he's not Bear Bachmeier level running. Like I said, Bear Bachmeier looked like Tim Tebow at the end of that game, the way that they were just designing shotgun snaps for him to run into a pile of steam.
Stylistically very different. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that the key for Houston will be running the football against Arizona, because I think Arizona's pass defense is good enough to the standpoint of you're probably not going to just like light them up. And, for example, I think if you were to look at the Iowa State game versus Arizona, where Iowa State put it on Arizona, Rocco Becht was successful passing in that game. But it was because Arizona, I think, was so afraid of Iowa State's physicality that they were almost giving one-on-one matchups to their DBs and saying, if we're going to have any chance of winning this one, we're going to need to win these one-on-one matchups and hope that Rocco Becht is just not going to dial it up and put it on the money, to which he did in that game, and all credit to them. So I think the pass defense is probably going to be pretty good. I do think that there's a big avenue for Houston to run the football in this one and against Arizona, who just kind of got gashed on the ground. And that's not to say the Arizona run defense is bad. I think they were pretty good early in the game, deteriorated and got tired, especially in overtime, especially in double overtime. But really, Arizona just lost its best defensive lineman for the season in Tre Smith. This was the first game without him in the BYU game. He's probably the best run stuffing defensive lineman. He's a defensive end, but the way Arizona plays, they kind of have him hand in the dirt more and a stand-up outside linebacker who's kind of rushing, standing up off the edge. And so Tre Smith, hand in the dirt guy, run stuffer, probably their best at that. And yeah, he's done for the year. So I think there's an opportunity for Houston to run the football for sure.
So I said I didn't want to begrudge it, but I do want to spend our third segment starting off with this game coming off of that game, because I think that's important. Today's show is also brought to you by everybody's over at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, they got NFL season, college football season kind of deals all over the place. And new customers can bet just $5, get $300 back in bonus bets if you win. That's right. If you pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you get $300 back in bonus bets. Now, as I look at this, I've been picking Houston all week. I think that's an easy pick here. The odds actually shifted in your favor if you're with me. Houston's at a +1.5. The over-under set at 47.5. I think this is a 28-24 game, so I'm going over there as well. I want to see more touchdowns. I almost always go over. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com, down the FanDuel app today, and get started.